Hey everyone, my name is Dr. Philip Clarke.
And I am a sport, exercise, and performance psychologist. On this channel, I want to be able to introduce to you what is performance psychology to help you learn from some of the elite performers across sport, corporate, education, whatever performance domain, the lessons they use and how you can apply it to your everyday life. Now, in this video, what we're actually going to do is break down what is performance psychology so we have a really nice foundation to understand how we can use this, and maybe this might be applicable to you. So let's dive in and have a look. This is a document I shared on my socials a week or so back on my LinkedIn and my Instagram that a lot of people found useful. So I thought, let's use this as a starting point. So if you want to see the document and download it, please do kind of follow or connect on social media. So Instagram or LinkedIn. So why is performance psychology important? So for me, what's really interesting about this is
A lot of people experience pressure and stress within their lives. And this is where your psychological principles
and how we cope with it is really, really effective. I often have people come to me and say, Phil, I want you to get rid of this pressure that I'm experiencing. Well, we can't necessarily do that because in order to get rid of pressure, pressure comes when it's important to us. So if there's anything in our life that's really important, we want to succeed in that, we're going to experience pressure. So what it's about doing is learning how to navigate it. So what performance psychology does is it helps us look at how the mind, so how we process things, our routines that we have in practice, our daily habits, and the environment that we create around us help us as people to perform more reliably under pressure, more consistently under pressure. So you might find that your performances go a little like this. What we're trying to do is, can we kind of make that wave a little bit smaller? Okay, so we're more consistent
to where we want to be. So, well, actually, what does it look like for peak performance? So
the key thing about what we do and what I do as a performance psychologist and as a registered sport and exercise psychologist is we want to use theory and research to help underpin this. So applied psychology for peak performance is studies and applies psychological principles so people perform consistently in the upper range of their abilities. So what I mean by that is just like that wave I was talking about, is we sometimes think that, well, what can we do to increase this so we're performing at a higher level? But actually what we want to do is, can we reduce the drop? So it's not falling so far down and our performances are really inconsistent. So if we can get really consistent, so we reduce that drop and allows us to perform at the higher level of our capability and our abilities more consistently, more regularly. And that's what I love. Okay, sometimes we're looking at, well, performance psychology is going to increase the top end. Yes, it can. But actually, it's not about raising the roof. It's about raising the floor. And that's really where it comes into its own. So a couple of tips and things that you might want to know about performance psychology. So tip one, who it helps. So I've been very fortunate in my career. I've worked with athletes, performers, leaders, coaches, parents of athletes and high performance teams. So a wide variety of different groups in different performance contexts. It's not just professionals that we help. It helps anywhere excellence or high standards are expected in discrete and high stake moments. That's the key part. You might find yourself in a performance context where there's a lot at stake. So actually how you manage that moment, how you manage those expectations might be really, really important. So this is for absolutely anyone. As human beings, we all have this ability where we want to perform and whatever that performance looks like. Using performance psychology can be really useful. And these strategies and tools I'm going to share over these coming weeks and months can be really useful to maybe give you that little edge when it comes to how you perform. So performance psychology is for everyone. 2, the core aims of what performance psychology is about. It's to improve our focus. So how we focus in and lock in and zone in on those key pressure moments. How do we ensure it's not down to concentration? Can we reduce our anxiety? Okay, and I'll talk a little bit more in a later video about what anxiety actually is. Can we build pressure management strategies? So what we mean by here is it something that we're actually able to create a blueprint for us on how we navigate pressure performance and pressure scenarios and build your high performance blueprint. Unfortunately, there is not a golden blueprint that works for absolutely everyone. As a human beings, as a species, we are unique. And therefore, our high performance blueprint also needs to be unique. The key thing that we're also looking to do is if you're in training or low pressure scenarios, and then when it comes to high pressure, you're not mapping that. It's not. So what you do in low pressure or training environments doesn't replicate what you do in high pressure scenarios. What we want to do is actually help you with bridging that gap and make it really intentional with what we do. So the strategies we want to use in high pressure are the ones we're also using in low pressure. Okay, so there's a saying that we don't rise to the level of our expectations, we fall to the level of our training.
And that might be if you're in a corporate space. That training might just be in those low pressure scenarios. What you do on the regular, what you do consistent, they show up in high pressure scenarios. 3, some of the common tools that we use. So this might be anything from mental skills. So your self-talks, imagery, relaxation, and goal setting techniques, and a whole variety of those. They might actually be some perception-based tools. So helping you to see challenges, problems differently. And there might be frameworks that help you in terms of how you approach mentally and how you compartmentalize, or how you perceive upcoming scenarios, whether you view it as an opportunity or whether you view it as a threat, how you interact with that inner dialogue that you have
when you're perceiving a situation. What we also want to do is, like I mentioned before, create those high performance habit development.
Again, they're unique, but we need to find out what situations do you want them and what's the response you're looking for, and then create those strategies to help you get there. Recovery. For me, recovery is as important, if not more important, than the performance itself. Okay, now what I mean by that is putting on an equal weighing field, or actually what you do on the pitch, in the boardroom, in the pool, whatever that might be, actually what you do away from it is what allows you to unlock it. So if we look at sports science over the last 25 to 30 years, we're seeing these great developments with athletes in terms of world records,
pushing ourselves to the human limits. What we're doing is we're applying recovery science to it. So our approach to nutrition, our approach to recovery, our approach to downtime, sleep, all of these things can give you those 1-3% difference.
And that's really important when you're at the upper end. When you're at the upper end of human performance and pushing yourself to that limit, that 1-3% could unlock a whole new level of performance for you. Something I say to all of my clients, sometimes you need to to speed up, you need to slow down. Okay, so we need to be able to prioritize slowing down to give us that energy that when we're in a high pressure performance moment, we've got more in that bank to be able to draw upon. And that is really important when we're talking about that consistent performance. And the final thing for me, why it matters. Okay, so one of the key things is skill alone isn't enough anymore. So yes, you've got lots of people developing great skills, and they are important. I'm not taking away from the physical or technical skill development. But in high pressure scenarios, what we want to do is how can we ensure that those skills that you've worked incredibly hard on can come out and actually have the impact that you want them to have, what you know that they can have. So that's where these skills mapped with a really solid mental performance program. So how you approach things, your mental strategies, that's what allows you to consistently perform under pressure. If you can have those high skills, the high mental process, and you line those two together, that's what's going to allow you to achieve what you're capable of. And that's exactly it, that your mental skill framework. So this is where your mental skills framework and approach are fundamental. And like they say, you might hear someone, if you ever read an autobiography and you say, oh, they do it this way. And then you try it to yourself and it doesn't quite hit. You don't get that feeling that they talked about in the book. Well, that's because that's theirs. So what we want to do is take what resonated with you. Is there something in that I really like that maybe I'd like to apply to myself? Great. Well, let's start to use that to build into your framework. And that's where working with a sport and a performance psychologist can be really important. So if you're interested, save this video. That might be something you look back on. Come back. We're going to have plenty more videos like this within this YouTube community over the next weeks, months, years, hopefully. And I'm also creating a free Skool community, which I'll put in the bio that you're able to maybe connect into. I'm going to be sharing some of those resources that you'll be able to download and have a go. And we're going to be having lots of different conversations with other individuals. If you're interested, I'll see you in there. And if not, I'll see you on the next one.